All right, then I'll move us along. On to then our final speech tonight. Guardian Drake reading a speech by VictorPine. And this one is excellent, I believe. So yeah, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm reading for Victor. It might just be a good thing. When I started being a member of Tumblr, albeit it was only a few weeks ago, I was already somewhat taken aback by the sheer quantity of not-so-up-and-coming artwork for the furry community. And make no mistake, I am not claiming that this is because of furries. That would be self-depreciating. I am in fact stating outright that the furry community, especially young, promising artists, is commonly taken advantage of by those that simply hover around us looking for something naughty to look at. And the NSFW ban in Tumblr that gives us the chance to escape these kinds of people, so we can pursue the kinds of furry works that we would rather see: hugs and cuddles and nice things instead of ludities. Point 1. To begin, the NSFW ban in Tumblr is good for furries and especially for furry artists, as it acts against a barrier against unwanted and unscrupulous commissions from people that are in essence weekend furries, or to put it in other words, people that pretend to be furries so they can convince a desperate or impressionable furry artist to make a picture that satisfies their oftentimes disturbing fantasies, only to leave as soon as they have what they desired. Now, I know that everyone has their own desires, if you will, but that does not make it a good thing for an unscrupulous individual to pretend to be a furry for a few minutes because some fancy or another strikes them to offer a commission request or something less than wholesome, and the starving artists among us are left with no choice but to take these unseemly commissions because they have some way to make a living somehow. Some of these less savory individuals are more than willing to pay inordinate amount of sums to have one of those kinds of pictures made for them. And even though the money is tempting, I think at one point I stumbled across a very disturbing image that was commissioned for $1,000 or thereabouts. Giving in to making these pictures can warp the mind of the artists that make them. And I know this for a fact because I saw my older brother become a monster because he started making pictures like that, and the subject of his art were not even furry. As such, it is clear that the NSFW ban will help put an end to this behavior, removing part of a website that was a forum for commissioning violent perversions. This is good, as it stops otherwise wonderful furries from getting sucked into that twisted world. Point 2. This ban in Tumblr, and the minor buffer it provides against such warping commissions, allows younger furries who just want to be what they want to be, instead of getting twisted into a pedophile like my brother was as a child. It should be noted that my brother was in fact driven to become what he is today by a non-furry person in real life, yet this does not eliminate the fact that the act of drawing these kinds of lewd works were a vital tool that my brother's corruptor used to warp him. Essentially having my brother paint increasingly lewd and disturbing pictures, all the while edging him on in a successful effort to make my brother become something that his corruptor could take advantage of. Many of these weekend furries, but not all, one mustn't pass undue judgment, act in a similar fashion to my brother's corruptor, and in similar goals in mind. The ultimate fate for an unfortunate artist that is caught up in this twisted world is the same as my brother's: disturbing exposures, disturbing actions, lewd behaviors, and finally moving on to corrupt someone else. The only difference between my brother's real-life corruptor and those twisted commissioners being that they're indiscriminate when choosing their targets and rarely get caught. If the NSFW ban works perfectly, these nasty individuals would be unable to get the commissions they desire and would eventually give up on them in favor of other kinds of debauchery, leaving the young ones alone to grow undisturbed. Finally, it would also give furries a chance to represent themselves in a medium wholly devoid of the previous stigma that has haunted us over the years, which is essentially the claim that furries are over-sexualized pedophiles and other things that should be not mentioned here. This is an unfortunate label placed on furries in response to the twisted commissioner's artwork being far more prevalent on the search engine. A perfectly monitored social site, like the now non-NSFW Tumblr, makes for an excellent proving ground to claim that someone's innocence as much as it be used to damn them. Because the longer a totally safe for viewing furry art gallery exists, the more and more credence it will have on search engines, which in turn will slowly snuff out the NSFW search results in favor of the more popular demand and growing supply. In conclusion, the NSFW ban is a good thing. Perhaps it seems bad at first, especially to those that make that kind of artwork for fun. But remember, it is only Tumblr, and as long as it is just them, their ban can be used to our advantage by helping us to show our better side. Thank you for listening. Please vote to support these guidelines to make our community healthier and safer. Thank you, and have a nice day. Victor.
As I expected, a lot of questions. Up first, Cinnabunny.
My major question is, why would the ban on Tumblr actually stop these people that want content like this created for them, considering the fact that, I think a lot of people at this point have seen the YouTube videos about people going on furry dating sites as well as on furry discords and just kind of trolling and joking around and stuff like that. People actually have access to this Discord, and that's why we have had trolls from time to time. Granted, we've been able to manage them, but there's still the absolute possibility of them getting this same artwork. I don't think that really would change much at all.
I think so. Firstly, we're going to struggle to find anyone to answer these questions because I doubt we'll find anyone who shares this view, right? I certainly don't agree with the points put forward by the speaker, and I doubt many others do.
Did you think the speaker himself does, or was he just academically writing this? Because it's pretty shocking.
I'm unsure.
Okay. I would. I know somebody who has a very similar point of view. If you would like me to add any input.
Yeah, go ahead if you think you can answer anybody's question.
I think probably the person that has created this speech believes that a lot of the pornography that's created encourages the actual actions in real life and also encourages these people to commit these acts. There is a phenomenon that has been stated many times that I don't know the exact actual academics behind it, but that it is it's essentially a slippery slope where somebody is introduced to something and then becomes interested in it. And I think that also offering a space where a person could go that has furry art that is only safe for work may be a good option for these individuals that are prone to this sort of issue.
Is it all right for me to add something?
Yeah, go.
Considering the fact that things like, and I hate to have to say it like this, but molestation happened long before the internet's existence and long before it was easy to just simply make a picture. Back when I had to be in paint and this and that. These kinds of things still happened in widespread. In some areas, you could quite easily quantify that it happened more often, percentage-wise, and how often it happened for the population size, and just wouldn't really. Go ahead.
One sort of point that struck me as a bit weird that the speaker made was that they don't like the kinky furry art being drawn by the underage people. Underage people, regardless if they're furries or not, shouldn't be drawing any NSFW art. Doesn't matter if it's kinky or not. So that point was strange to me. If you want to protect children, you don't let them involved with any NSFW stuff. Doesn't matter what fetish it is. Simple as that. Keep them away from it.
And if they are of age, then they should be free to make their own decision.
Yeah, exactly. They're adults, as long as it's legal.
They choose to draw something that's kinky, that's because they've come to the decision that they want to draw it, or that the offer monetarily is worth drawing it if it's not exactly in their comfort zone. And it's
but that does lead on to issues of exploitation. If an artist feels that they have to draw something an adult artist feels they have to draw something they're uncomfortable with in order to survive, that's not good.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's that's what that's what business is, I guess. Not nice, but
That actually happened to me, interestingly enough. One of the most notorious images that I've drawn was actually drawn by my roommate, but only colored by me because I just don't draw sex. I don't know what it looks like.
So you personally found that uncomfortable as an artist?
Oh yeah, I broke down
Okay.
crying.
Wow, that's not good.
I think this quite often demonstrates kind of like a flaw in the well, you should just ban it. It's well, if these people are struggling to make ends meet to the point where they are having to draw this, then you're taking away their income stream at a point when they are living, paycheck to paycheck. So it seems like a weak argument to me. Zakalo, do you have a question separate to all this?
I did, and I will probably answer it since we had me and my friend, the same friend I was talking about, had a long discussion. That I draw some very, 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 very violent, gory things. And I have been accused many times of actually being into this stuff or liking it in a sexual way. When I was talking to a different friend of mine, and he collects that kind of artwork. He's got a giant gallery of it. And he said most of the artists, they're not into that at all, but they don't mind drawing it just because it doesn't squick them out. And that's one of the things that I have, experienced on my end, is that I just don't care. I like drawing. I could draw water liquid. I could draw any kind of liquid. It doesn't really matter to me. I think it's fun to do different colors. And a lot of people misunderstand that it's not that the artist is into it, it's that the artist is indifferent to it. And I think that really addresses a lot of the concern about the artist perpetuating this sort of fetish art that most people are uncomfortable with, is that people assume that these artists are into it. And it fits in with the whole sometimes artists draw something they're very uncomfortable with. I think that practice should probably end. And the idea that a commissioner could coerce an artist into drawing that is very, very wrong. And I think Tumblr is full of a lot of people that feel like they need to stand out from the crowd and take these commissions in order to become popular. And I think they're being very, very misled.
I do have a point to that if you are finished with what you're saying there.
Mhm.
I think the main issue with that point as a whole about, artists drawing stuff that they don't really want to is not that it isn't bad, because it is bad that people should have to do that. The only thing is it's the topic is on all of furries, and once you've isolated out the amount of furries that are artists, and then you've isolated the ones that are draw NSFW artwork, and then you've isolated the ones that aren't financially off well, and then you've also isolated out the ones that draw specifically stuff that they don't want to draw, you might even be talking about less than 1% of all furries. So it doesn't really represent the entirety of the furry fandom that was on Tumblr. In fact, it might be the smallest percentage.
I agree. I agree that it's a very small percentage that's on Tumblr.
I think this problem of artists drawing things they don't want to draw is indicative of a problem that's just endemic in modern society, where a lot of people have to do a job they don't want to do just because they have to. They don't have any choice. Especially, you look at the government shutdown in the US at the moment, you get people having to do 3 jobs that they don't want to do because they're not getting paid. And people who are at that sort of level where they desperately need the money will do desperate things. And it's society takes advantage of people like that. And it's not fair. And it's not a furry issue even. It's not an art issue. But you need organization at a governmental level to take care of that sort of thing. It's not going to solve itself, and it's certainly not going to solve itself by some website saying you can't have porn on it. It's sort of missing the whole issue.